Brian from Pittsburgh Power. I want to go over a couple things with you today here. This here is a N-14 CELECT PLUS block. One of the common questions I get is where can I find my engine serial number if the tag's missing from the front of my engine. Up here is where your tag's normally located. In order to be able to find your engine serial number, there's a pad right back here. You clean that pad off, you'll come up with an engine serial number. The engine serial number I have for this particular block is 12028145. This tells me that this is an N-14 345 horsepower engine. It also tells me it's a CELECT Plus. It gives me the CPL, which is a 2592. The 2592 is one of the engines that we like to change the timing on. The factory timing is 362. We like to change it to 352. We will go to that in a later video. I'm going to try to get some timing videos out for you guys too. It tells me the build date. This was built December 13th, the year 2000. That's one of the things there on that. It's easy to find out if you know where to look, but it's hard. It seems hard sometimes to describe it over the phone. The other thing that I like to do anytime I tear an engine apart, I look at the main bearing and a rod bearing. I pull down one of each of those. First thing I do is check to see if they're standard or oversized, because we normally keep the standard stuff here, but don't always have an oversized. You don't run that too often with the Cummins. I've run that quite a bit with the decoy. Right on here, I don't know whether you can see this or not, it'll actually be marked standard. Anything on the rod bearing will also be marked standard on here. That's one of the things I like to check right off the bat. That way you know if you need to get order oversized bearings. Another common practice I have gotten myself into is that anytime I pull the cam followers off of one of these style engines, I'll mark the cam followers. If you reuse your camshaft and put your cam followers back in where they run on a different load on the cam, it'll wipe out your cam prematurely. It won't wipe out the roller. So we stamp them all the time, just 1, 2, 3, and then you know where they go back. The other thing I like to do, I like to take a piece of the original gasket that was on here, and on the back of them, I know you can't see this, but trust me, it's 27 thousandths. That gives me a starting point whenever I go back to time this engine. It's not as important on this engine because we are going to change the timing from what it originally was, but if you're reusing the cam followers in the same cam, it's a nice starting point, somewhere where you can start out and get things going whenever you're doing your time. All right? The next thing we're going to do here, I'm going to show you, I'm going to go over, we're going to mic this block and see if this block is standard, if it has a standard lower press fit liner, or if it has an oversized lower press fit liner. The first thing I do is I take just a standard depth gauge, nothing fancy, stick it on the deck, hold it down nice and even with 2 fingers, and you want to bring it down until it touches that ledge. All right? You want to make sure you're not too close to the corner of the ledge because sometimes there's a little step inside there that'll throw you off. This is 370. 370 is the depth of a standard liner, so that's telling us that that part is standard. The next thing that I do, I'm going to check concentricity. And what you're checking is you're checking to make sure that your upper bore and your lower bore are in line with each other. That one of the bores isn't over from the other one, that you have 2 holes sitting like this. I'm exaggerating that, but that'll make your liner sitting there crooked. And if you have to do any machine work, you want to know that that's incorrect before you start the machine work, because you can adjust that then when you do the machine work. Now, I will just show you from here how we're doing this, and then we'll show you down inside the hole best we can. I put this in here, I zero the gauge. You walk it back and forth to make sure you're centered. You're going to check it in 4 different spots. 0, 0. I've actually never seen one of these blocks be out of spec. You're allowed 10,000ths. That is, if you have a +5 and a -5, that adds up to 10. Doesn't always have to be. You do not add your positives together. You would not add a +5 and a +5 to make 10. It's just you have to add the negatives and the positives together, or if you have +10, it would be out of spec also. Okay, that actually was extremely well. I don't think I had more than a 2000s variance anywhere. So that's how you check the concentricity. All right, now what I'm doing here is I'm just moving the tool back and forth, and you can see that I zeroed it. You turn a knob out here, and that's what changes your zero. Okay. I know most shops aren't going to have this tool, but these are just some of the extra steps we take when we're doing a job here at Pittsburgh Power. This is my ring gauge. It's my master for checking to see if my liners are oversized or standard on the lower press fit half. All right. So I believe since they're 370, I believe they're going to be standard. So I'm going to check it on the standard side first. This is my bore gauge here. What I do is I zero my bore gauge. First thing I like to do is lightly hold your finger underneath here. You don't want to be putting pressure, because if I put pressure, this is actually the side that makes it that the dowel part is connected to. All right, so I can't put pressure with my fingers down there. I just have to lightly hold it up with my fingers. What I like is from when it goes in to where it starts to go back around the other way again. I like it to just be one revolution of the gauge. Okay, so here I am, and there's where I need to be centered, right there where the gauge is going back the opposite direction. Okay. Now I'll take this over to my block, and I'll do the same thing on my block. But what I want to make sure is, I don't want to make sure that I didn't bring this out from outside whenever it's 0 degrees and check it on a block that's been in a 70-degree room. And I don't want my block to have come out from outside where it's 0 degrees and this being set in a 70-degree room. I want to make sure they're both normally up to room temperature to check this, because the tolerances we're using are very tight, and you want the readings to be the same. All right? So we're going to come over here to the block. I'm going to basically do the same thing in the block that I did in the master. I don't know what you're going to be able to see over my shoulder. Now, I always get the terminology wrong on this. I'm going to try to get it right. But this first line, this first one, not the first small line, but this first one is actually 1,000ths. So we're allowed to be 1,000ths tight or 1,000ths loose. But if we're beyond that, we need to cut this for an oversized line. Half a thousandths over 1,000. So this one here is going to need to be cut for an oversized line. I want to check it in 2 spots. I want to check it that way. I need to check it this way. That side's even worse. That side's almost 2,000ths. That's 2,000ths big. And you can only be up to 1,000ths tight also, because what you can have is you'll have an issue where the piston is actually too tight to the liner wall. All right, so that's how we check that. See, right there is my spot, and I'm just beyond the thousandths I'm allowed. And if I come over and check it the other direction, I'm almost a whole thousandths out of spec. So this block will need to be cut for oversized liners. The nice thing is they do give you a bigger liner that you can use before you have to cut it for salvage sleeves. After say this had the 2040 liners in it already and it was out of spec, then we'd have to use salvage sleeves. You'd have to install salvage sleeves in the block. But right now, we don't have to do that. That's one of the nice things about these Cummins. They give you several different options to adjust things. So, something else I wanted to mention here was that we're only showing you this on one particular cylinder. Usually if we cut these, we check them all first of all. We check everything, check all the holes, do everything the same on all the holes. But the other thing we do is, if we're going to cut one for oversized liners, we cut them all. We really don't want to mix and match and have an oversized liner here, a standard liner there. It's just easier for everything to cut them all, do them all the same, have everything correct. All right, the other thing, one of the other ways you can check to see if you have standard or oversized liner is there's actually a part number stamped on the top of the liner. The number here is 3055099. That tells me this is a standard lower press fit liner. The oversized would be a 3065405. That would tell you that that's a 2040 liner. That's going to be the end of this video for today. Next time we come back, we're going to try to do some engine timing videos, and I'll show you a couple of different things you want to look for and giving you some assembly tips on a proper way to install your liners and check your protrusion. All right, Brian from Pittsburgh Power, thank you very much.